Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Lekutey Maharan Shir. I'm Shaya Sussman, and we're going to be continuing in Lesson 33. Just a quick introduction. As always, you can find more shirim of this. What does Rabbi Nachman say? In-depth classes in Sefer Lekutey Maharan. You could go to Breslov.org on their YouTube channel, or you could go to my SoundCloud at Nach Daily. Nach Daily or Shaya Sussman on SoundCloud, and you'll see many, many classes. I believe this is our 44th class. So we have many different lessons that we've been learning slowly over time, and it's just exciting to be learning this with everyone. Tonight, in tonight's class, we are going to be finishing Lesson 33, what we've been learning, Lesson Lamed Gimel. This is going to be the fourth class in Lesson Lamed Gimel, and I'm excited to be learning that with everyone. So let's just do a quick recap, as always, before we jump in on some of the topics we covered so far, and then we'll jump right into the Sefer. So the topics that we've been learning about so far is finding peace, shalom, balance, harmony in ourselves and in the world, right? That's the name of the piece. And every person needs to find peace. That's what he's going to say. That's what we've been learning about. We've also been learning about deeply understanding God is everywhere. When I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. There's no place of devoid of divinity. As Rabbi Nachman said, you could come close to Hashem no matter where you are. Therefore, you should never give up. We've also been developing the idea, which is an ongoing theme in this piece, which is seeing the non-dual nature of our experience of life and not judging and splitting our experience as good and bad, and just seeing that there is one source, one power behind our entire experience of life. And we're going to learn more about that tonight as we finish the piece. And we also learned about revealing the hidden Torah in every situation in life. We said that there's a Torah hapanimius, a Torah hanister that is always there. And therefore, as we were saying before, you could always restore balance. You could always connect to God. And therefore, there's no need to judge our experience of life. We also learned who's the person who's able to do this. We learned that it is none other than Hashem's great tzaddikim. Hashem's tzaddikim, who we're going to learn more about, that are able to subdue their yetzer hara. They're able to, what we're going to learn tonight is how they're able to makasher their daito lelibo. We're going to learn what that means. We also learned about, again, finding Pnimis Torah. We learned about going beyond our own minds, going to beyond das, beyond trying to figure things out, into Hashem's amazing and awesome love that he's had for us, that he has for us, that he's always had for us, something called ahava b'das, going beyond intelligence, beyond your own mind, something that's totally illogical type of love Hashem has for us. And being that there's good in every day, Hashem's awesome revelation of love for us, and how ultimately we've shown la'asad lavo, this ahava shebedas, this amazing love that Hashem has, is going to be revealed for us la'asad lavo, as we've been learning in the previous weeks. So I just want to rehash this a little bit before we go on and jump into the text a little bit. What does this mean a little bit to us? And in modern day terms, just to put a way that's easier to understand some of this. So what does it mean going beyond your mind and restoring peace? It means that, in one way that it means to us, it means that, we can't really figure things out. It looks like we have control. There seems to be an illusion of control, that we could figure things out, we could make things work, we could try to wrap our mind around things. But I think that one thing Corona taught us is that it's just an illusion of control. We don't really have control. And when we think we could figure things out and we start judging things good or bad, right or wrong, or we think we know what's going to happen because according to our knowledge, according to our das, we're able to really, really figure it out. What happens is that we need to realize that we really can't, and we have to go beyond ourselves, and we have to expand our circle of awareness. Right? We see life like this, through these little lenses, through this little camera lens, and we need to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and wider and wider. So we need to have we need to be in a state of expanded consciousness, of an expanded awareness. And that expanded awareness comes from when we stop judging our experience and we give up on the illusion of control, that we really don't have control, and there's only one source and one power behind our experience of life, and that's not our own minds. That's Hashem. That our minds are linked up to the intelligence behind life, God's mind, and we need to give ourselves up to that, kind of let go of our thinking in that type of way. Or when we see that, it allows us to have less thinking on our mind, less judgment on our mind, the model of subtraction, where it just gets rid of thought for us. And then that opens up to this level of awareness, that there's a deeper knowing, a deeper knowledge, that when you know, you just know, right? A deeper knowledge that the world is a good place. I don't think that gets stated enough, and I'll say that again, that the world is a good place. It's not something you could prove. You can't put your finger on it and say, prove to me that the world's a good place. But what Rabbi Nachman's explaining here is really, really a deeper knowledge. He's explaining, showing us that Hashem is everywhere. There's a Panemius, a Torah everywhere. There's a Nasa v'Nishma on every single level. And when we reveal the good within the days, so knowing that the world is a good place, that Hashem can be found everywhere, and that we need to go beyond ourselves, so that allows our thinking to fall off, not judge our experience, and be in touch with the Yamei Tov, the good days. As we're thinking of, Mi Ha'isha Chafetz Chaim, Ohev Yamin L'Ros Tov, the person that sees good, the person who sees good. It's like Einstein used to say, this is an amazing thing Einstein used to say. Einstein said, one of the most important questions a person needs to ask themselves is the universe friendly? And I love that, and I think it touches on what we've been learning about, that is the universe friendly? Is there good in every day? We look at, is the world working against us? Is the world really working for us? Every day we have a schedule. We have something in life that we want to accomplish. We have our daily schedule, our daily tasks. And inevitably, in every single day, there's Yamei Ra. There's bad things that happen to us. There's distractions. There's obstacles. There's all different sorts of things that can get in our way. And what do we look at that? We look at that and we say, oh, there's an interruption to my day. But I ask you the question, or as Rabbi Nachman showing us, what if the interruption was really the main part of the day? What if the interruption was really the main thing that you needed to accomplish? So we think we could control our days. We think that we could control things, and we think we know what the outcome is. But what if the interruption is the main part of the day? The fact that you were driving to work and then you had to go back because your kid was exposed to COVID and you have to pick him up from school, so you couldn't go in. You couldn't go in, right? So we have our schedules, we have everything lined up, but is the universe friendly? Meaning to say, once there's a deeper knowing, there's a deeper knowledge that Hashem is behind the scenes and that you're okay. And your level of awareness gets expanded to be wider and wider and wider. So all that extra thinking you're doing, it allows you to not split between good and bad, not split between, as Rabbi Nachman started, you have to, as we learned in the first paragraph of this lesson, Rabbi Nachman said, right, whether it's midas hadin or whether midas harachamim, then you're going to praise Hashem. Right, this is what he says. Right, Hainu shelo yeh mechulak b'midosav v'marosav, shelo yeh chiluk ben betivo ben ba'ako. That a person should get to a place that there shouldn't be any difference ben betivo ben ba'ako, between the good days and the bad days. But when we look at the interruptions, so we start splitting our day, we start judging it because our level of awareness is this small. We're looking through a very, in photography, there's like a wide angle lens and then there's like a narrow zoom lens, and we have to look at the widest lens. We have to go to like that wide range vlogging lens, not the you want to go with the 10 millimeter lens, not with like a 100 millimeter lens, you want to go wider. And when you do that, then you're able to stop splitting your experience. You're really able to live in God, because again, back to the scheduling thing, I'd say something we all can relate to. We never really had control to begin with. And maybe the thing that went wrong is really not bad at all. It's part of the schedule. It is the schedule itself. It's not a bump in the road. It's mamish the schedule. Corona, it's the schedule. It's not a break from the schedule. It's the schedule itself. Okay, without any further ado, we're going to jump in. We're going to jump into the text now. Okay, let's go to the screen share. Boom. So again, let's make this a little bigger. So again, like we've been explaining, that there's a level of awareness that's going to be happening la'asid lavo, when we're going to see that everything that happened was really good. And therefore the opposites, the ger, the zev and the kevis, the lamb and the wolf, two things that are normally predatory in nature, that don't get along with each other, right? The wolf feeds on the lamb. These two opposites are going to coexist with each other, because there's going to be a level of awareness that is revealed, a level of das, a level of consciousness, of emunah, that is going to be revealed. And it's going to show us how even opposites could coexist. And that's the shalom. Now we're jumping in. Letter Vav. Va'afilu b'midos atzman, even in character traits themselves. Kol echad lefi b'chinaso hu b'chinas das le'b'chinas shetachtea. Everything according to itself is the das corresponding to the level of below it. We're going to explain this, so let's just read it and then we'll explain. Kamosha amru chachrinu zechron bracha, like Chazal said, ma asasa chachma ateres l'rosha, asasa anava ekev l'tzilusa, right? This, that chachma, is the crown on the head. It's the same relationship that humility is to the heel, which is in the shoe. Nimsa. Hamadrega hapachusa shel olam hayitzira, comes out the lowest level of the world of yitzira, the world of formation. Hu bechinas das leolam haasiyah shetachtav. That is like the world of das to the world of asiyah, the world of action that's underneath it. Right? So yitzira is a higher world than asiyah. It's a more spiritual, elevated world, and that is like das, awareness, to the world below it. Nimsa. Sheyesh adam she'ahavaso sheyesh lo im Hashem yisbarach b'midosav ubizman. So there is an individual who has a tremendous amount of love, sheyesh lo im for God, that manifests itself in time. Hu b'chinas ahav shebedas shelamala me'azlan la'adam shehu b'madrega b'chusa mimenu. That is like ava shebedas, ava that's in that's beyond yourself, and ava, a love that's in potential to the lower level. Okay, let's explain what that is. So Rabbi Nachman's setting something up over here, right? He's saying that everything is like everything is on levels of awareness on a sliding scale, right? So even in the world of, even in the Arba Olamos, even in the different Olamos, everything is all relative. Meaning to say, like this, a person is the love that you have for, just trying to find the right words, like means everyth's on a sliding scale. So you might say, well, I love Hashem, okay? But let's say there's a guy who loves Hashem more, right? So you're going to say, well, I love Hashem, but that guy loves Hashem more than me. So what does that mean? I don't love Hashem, right? It comes out like this. Like, let's say there's a guy who loves Hashem a lot, and you love Hashem on your level, and then there's a guy underneath you that loves Hashem on his level, right? So you, in relation to the guy above you, it's a very low level. It's like considered like the shoe. It's considered, right? But for you to the guy below you, it's considered a high level, right? So in terms of awareness, right, it's on a sliding scale. Your level of das in relation to someone lower than you, or even relation to yourself, at different points is higher at times, and at different points is lower at times. But everything here is, what he's saying is that everything here, in terms of your awareness, right, that is all in relationship to where you are in the rung of things, right? So you might not be on a high level, but you, in comparison to someone else, it's considered a very high level, right? So your level of awareness and this type of love that we're speaking about it's all like on a sliding scale, right? It's relative to where that individual stands. It's not in absolute terms, if that makes sense. V'zeh she'amru v'zeh 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 she'amru Rabbeinu Zachron Livracha. And this is what Chazal said. Kisifsei Kohen, right? This is a pasuk. For those of you who've been following the classes, this will all be familiar. And for those of you who are just joining for the first time, there's what to gain here also. Kisifsei Kohen Yishmeru Das v'Toras Yavakshu Mipihu. Right? That the lips of the Kohen, they guard awareness, they guard Das. V'Torah Yavakshu Mipihu. Right? And the Torah you need to request from their mouths. You need to search out. Im harav doma lamalach Hashem tzivakos, if the Rav is compared to a malach. Hainu shekofa es yitzro azai hu doma lamalach Hashem tzivakos kemo she'amruz bezohar baruch Hashem malacha gibure koach ilin inun de miskabrin al yitzreim. Right. So a person needs to the tzaddik, the Rav, is the one who is like compared to an angel. Right. Why is he compared to an angel? Because he was kofa his yetzer, he subdued his yetzer hara within him, and just like a malach doesn't have a yetzer hara, right? So too this tzaddik who was able to be kofa his yetzer doesn't have a yetzer hara. He was able to completely subdue it within himself, and therefore he's on the level of a malach. Just like the Zohar says, what does it say? Baruch Hashem malacha gibure koach. Blessed is the person who, the man of strength, the angels that are people of strength. What does it mean? Angels, malach of gibure koach. Who are these people that are like angels with gibure koach, a lot of strength? Elin inun de miskaber al yetzerin. This is any individual who misgaber on his yetzer. So when you're misgaber on your yetzer, ki al yidei shekofetz yetzer, through subduing your yetzer hara, azaya osios haTorah boltun mitztarfin. Then the letters of the Torah begin to exude and radiate. Azayhu bechinas nasev nishma. Right. This is like what we've been learning about. Therefore, it's nasev and nishma on your level, right? A person reveals the hidden Torah in that place, and the letters start radiating. So therefore, there's a new Torah that gets revealed. Because like we said earlier, it's like he's building the Torah because he's revealing a new Torah in that place. And then he merits, in order to hear the call of the Torah, the voice of the Torah radiating from above. For of course, from this Rav, this tzaddik that you're seeking out to hear Torah from his lips, of course he knows the Torah. And even in physical things, he goes into that place and he's able to collect Torah even there. And this is the lips of the Kohen, they guard das, awareness. Kohen hu bechinas chesed. The Kohen is an aspect of kindness. Yishmeru das guards das, awareness. Hainu, she is gale al yidei harav hazeh. It gets revealed through this person, ha'ava shebedas, the ahava shebedas, the super awareness, the awareness beyond mind, the awareness in potential that's just in the mind but not actually brought to fruition. Shehu lefi madregascha ahava shehu l'malu min hazman. And according to that person's level, like we said in the paragraph earlier, everything is all relative. So according to that person's level, his das, it's ahava shehu l'malu min hazman, shehu yom echad yivad el Hashem, which is on one day Hashem's love will be revealed. Let's just explain that, and this is gonna get again clear as we learn, right? So we're saying everything is relative to a person's level, what they're doing, right? So the tzaddik is the one who lives in this state of being. The tzaddik is the one who lives in this awareness, in this level of consciousness, in this level of emunah, understanding that he was the one who was kofa as yitzro, he was the one who was able to subdue his yetzer hara, and therefore he's the one who's lives in this state of, he's not only like an angel, but he's the one who's able to live in this state of l'mayla min hadas. He's in this one who's able to live in a state of consciousness and awareness that that life is happening beyond him, meaning to say, because the tzaddik is the one who is kofer his yetzer, right? He's constantly receiving this das. He's constantly receiving a flow, a divine flow, divine shefa from beyond himself, and he's not trying to control everything around himself. So he's open, he's completely opening up to new insights and new possibilities. And he's the one who ultimately comes to love Hashem, right? As he's passing, he's equating the tzaddik with the Kohen, that the Kohen was the man of chesed, he was the man of love, right? So why is the tzaddik the one who experiences, who reveals, who's the one who's connected and understands Hashem's amazing love within us? Because he's not trying to control the experience of life, and he understands that there's a divine flow, and he's in line with that divine flow. He's in line with that divine shefa. He understands that the universe is a friendly place, right? He understands that the universe, that there's a munah, and that Hashem is constantly creating good in the world, and if it's happening in the world, it's good. So because he's not splitting his experience, so he experiences life. He experiences life on the level of love. He experiences life on the level of love, on the level of awareness, on the level of l'mayla min hadas. Like Hashem's, like Rabbi Nachman was explaining before about Hashem's love, it will ultimately be revealed la'aseh lavo when the das gets revealed, when that level of consciousness gets released and realized in the world. So the tzaddik, the individual who starts realizing that awareness now and opens himself up to understand that everything in life that happens is good and that there's no such thing as ra at all. So they enter into this place of non-duality, of understanding Hashem's love and experiencing it. And who's that individual? That's the tzaddik. That's the tzaddik who's able to live his life on these things, because he's totally open up to this new experience. And he not only is he not trying to control the world around him, but he's not trying to control the world inside of him. And therefore he receives more of this flow, and he is the one who's able to be kofer his yetzer. Now Rabbi Nachman is going to explain how every single person this happens to, and how every single person, even me and you, can experience this on our level. Okay. And with this, v'yachol kol adam litom ta'am or ahava shebedas. And every single individual, every single person, v'yachol kol adam, every single person is able to taste the sweetness of what he's calling or ahava shebedas, the love and potential that remains in your mind that is yet to be revealed to the world. Kol echad lefi bechinasa. Right? So not only is he talking about the tzaddik, right? As we said, he's talking about the tzaddik could certainly do it. But not only the tzaddik, the simple man, me and you, every person on their level. And this is why he set the stage to explain that things are relative to your level. Afilu achshav b'toch hayamim. Even nowadays, even now in days when we live our life bound by time, hainu sheyish kasher es libo lidaito, that a person needs to connect, and we're going to speak about this, their libo, their heart, to their mind. They need to connect their heart to their mind. Ki kol echad miyisrael yodea sheyesh elokim bechlal, because every Jewish person knows that in general there's a God. Aval rishayim heim b'rishus liban, but the evildoers, the rishayim, their hearts control them. V'hamidos v'hayamim heim nechlalim b'leiv, and the midos and days, they reside in the heart. K'moshe amru chachmenu zechonu l'vracha, like Chazal say, Rachmana liba ba'i, that God desires your heart. Ubilvad sheyichaven es libo l'shamayim, but providing we turn our hearts towards heaven, ki ikaran shel hamidos hu b'leiv, the main place of the midos takes place in the heart. Nimsa. So it comes out when a person connects their heart to their mind, that a person knows that there's a God in general, right? This is what we're saying is a universal friendly place, that they know that there's a God in general. Shemalol kol haaretz kavodo, that nothing, the whole entire world is filled with Hashem's kavod. The Yodea b'yedius haTorah, and he knows with knowledge of Torah. Ukishekofes libo ledaito hazeh, but when he connects his heart to his mind, hainu shelibo b'reshusa, that his libo is in under his control. Azai nichlalim gamkein hamidos shebelibo ledaito. So then all of a sudden, all his midos, all the individual's character traits get uplifted by his mind. The azai, so, okay, we'll explain this. Let's just read to the end. Azai mekablen hamidos or ha'ava shebedas. And then all your midos, all your character traits receive from this love of potential. The roa umasig or haganas lefi b'chinasa. Then every individual begins to see the hidden light on his level. Hainu shat tzadikim v'haTorah, that the tzadikim and Hashem's Torah, shayaganus v'tzafon aratami menu, that was hidden from you until now. Ukishikoifefes libo ledaito, when a person connects their minds to their heart, azai mekabel halev, then now the heart receives shehu shorish lekol midos, which is the chariot for all the midos. Umekabel ohar avashabadas, and now it receives from this awesome ahava, this amazing love. The heart just keeps receiving and feeling love and love and love over and over again. That this love that the person can experience, that your heart can be filled with, the love that Hashem had to us when he created the creation in this world. Okay, so let's just again explain this. What does it mean to be Makasher, your libo to ledaito, and that every single person could do this on a level, and that when you understand that there's a God in general, somehow that allows your mind to settle, and it allows you to receive the Ava or Shabadas. So what does all that mean, right? So this is like awesome. This is awesome stuff, right? So I believe I've come to understand that Rabbi Nachman means this. If I could take a stab at this. I think Rabbi Nachman is saying like this, that you have to be makasher your libo to your das. That means is you have to understand that your feelings are coming from your mind, that all feelings are a product of thought. And being makasher your libo to your das means you're not splitting thought and feeling. When you start putting together thought and feeling, and you start asking yourself, is my experience of life coming from my mind? Are my feelings being created by my mind? Or are my feelings created from the world outside of me, not my thinking about the world outside of me? So when a person starts understanding that, that's called being makasher libo ledaito. That's called connecting your mind to your heart, and then your libo is birishuse. Your libo is birishuse, and once you understand that your feelings are being created from the inside out, from your power of thought, from your mind's eye, right? So now you receive the Ava Shebedas, right? Because you understand that your mind is connected to Hashem's mind. And this is what Rabbi Nachman says, that all Jews know of Hashem b'chlal in general. And that helps your midos. Because when you know of God in general, right? So now you understand that you don't need to control your experience, and that there's good to every day, that the universe is a friendly place. And your makasher, your libo to ledaito, means you're not splitting the thought-feeling connection. You're not splitting your experience between outside and inside, right? Everything is all one. The inside and the outside now becomes one. And the Rishayim, though, what do? Right? We're all Rishayim on our level as well, right? What are the Rishayim? What do we do, right? We split our mind from our heart. We say, well, I'm feeling one thing and I'm thinking another thing. And we don't understand that our experience of life is happening through our mind's eye and being created from the power of das, from Hashem's das. So we split thought and feeling. We're not makasher our minds to our hearts. Our libo is not makasher ledaito. And since we split thought and feelings, the Rishayim, they follow after their taivas olam hazeh. Because when you don't understand the relationship between your feelings and your mind, you wind up splitting, and you ended up more confused. You end up more down the rabbit hole. You end up thinking about your thinking, right? And you end up doing things you wouldn't ordinarily do in your sane mind. But when you makasher your liba l'daita, when you understand that your experience of life, when you understand that your experience of life is coming from the inside out, and you makasher your liba l'daita, and you don't start blaming your circumstances for your experience because you understand that it's an internal one, right? So that's the or avish evidas, right? You're opening up yourself to an entire new experience, right? So this is like incredible. This is like incredible Pneumius Torah, how Rabbi Nachman understood all this. It's an amazing thing. You know, when you see a point over here, right? When you see, you know, when we talk about knowing, we're not talking about an intellectual knowing, right? We're talking about when you understand that that you have elokus running through you, right? When you understand there's no difference between the outside world and the inside world. When you understand that there's a God b'chlal in general, not just happening outside of you, but happening inside of you as well, right? That's running through your mind, creating your world vision, creating your life experience. So as Rabbi Nachman was saying, that illuminates your midos, because you stop splitting your experience between good and bad. You stop splitting your experience, ben betivo, ben ba'ako, you can reveal the shalom. There's a harmony that a person, a shalom, that the individual begins to experience, starting to taste from the Or HaGanos, the Torah's HaPnimius, when they understand there's one power behind their life, and it's all one. The inside, the outside, the good, the bad. There's one source to our experience, and that's coming, running through us. That's Hashem's energy of Ava Shebedas that every single one of us have the ability to experience on our own level. The interruption in the schedule is not the interruption, it's the main thing itself. But the only reason why we perceive it as such is because we tell ourselves there's an inside, there's an outside, and this is separate from Hashem. But when we start seeing again that there's one source to our experience of life, now you can experience the good in every day. You can experience the good in every day, and all your days become good. We begin to start seeing the spiritual nature of our experience to begin with. As I always like to say, you know, a human being is two words, human and being. You get to experience more the being part of the human. You get to the being, right? You start understanding that our experience of life is not just the physical experience of life, but we're spiritual beings traveling through a spiritual world. Okay, back to the screen share, and with this, we're going to be reading the last words in the piece. Now, all the way starting with the pasuk that we started from, way back when, which is the name of the lesson. Hold on, let's just preface this pasuk for a second, right? So the pasuk itself is Mi ha'isha chafetz chaim, right? It's read as a question. Mi ha'isha chafetz chaim ahiv yamim l'ros tov. Who is the person who desires life? It's almost like a lament. Who is the person who loves his days and sees good? Rabbi Nachman's going to read it differently. V'zehu, and this is what it says, Mi ha'isha chafetz chaim. Who is the person who desires life? Chafetz, desire, hu bechinas leiv. That's an aspect of the heart. Sha'chefetz, hu belev, because desire resides in the heart. Chaim, hu bechinas das, and life is awareness. Kemo shekasav makor chaim seichel ba'alav. The source of life resides in the mind. Hainu, shemekasher es halev ledas, that a person connects their hearts to their mind, right? They ask themselves, am my experience coming from my mind, or is my experience coming from the world outside of me? Shelibo bereshuso, and when a person clarifies and steps into the true source of experience of life, that their libo is bereshusa, that their experience is coming from their mind's eye always. Shekoifa es yetz, and therefore he's able, his libo is in his yetzer, he's able to, in his hand, he's able to be kofer his yetzer. In And therefore, that person on his level, he's able to ohev yamim, love days. Who mamshich ha'ava medas letoch hayamim letoch hamidos. He's able to draw that level of consciousness, that state of being, of awareness, into the days and into his own character traits. He actually starts viewing life as not one big interruption, but it's the main show, it's the program, and everything is good. Hakol l'tova. Liros tov, what does it mean to see good? V'ro u'maseg etzaor ki tov v'ganos. He starts seeing his days as filled with light. Shemaseg ha'or, that he starts having perceptions. Hainu ha'torah ha'gnuzav et tzadikim ha'gnuzim, which is the Torah and which is the tzaddik. So mi'isha chafetz chaim, who's the person who desires life? A person who's able to makasher his libo, to understand that we have an inside-out experience of life, and the true nature of our divine experience of life is not an outside-in one; it's an inside-out one. And our experience of life is always being filtered through our mind's eye, which is connected to Hashem's mind. And when we understand that, our thinking falls away, and Ohev Yamim, you're able to reach higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of awareness as our vision expands. And this is what it means, Ohev Yamim Liros Tov. He experiences the love in the day. The Liros Tov, he sees the Torah HaPanimius. He sees Hashem in everything that he does. He's mamish able to live with Elokus. This is awesome. This is awesome. You know, we start to understand that there's this, that Hashem's mind is Rabbi Nachman says in Torah Aleph, that there's a seichel b'chol davar, there's an intelligence of life, there's a universal mind, right? And when we see the seichel b'chol davar, when we see this universal mind, this universal intelligence, right? So all of a sudden that's able to illuminate us, and that lights us up, and then our thinking falls away, you know. We stop trying to control our experience. We stop trying to control everything that we do. You know, I recently saw a quote from what was his name? Walden Thoreau. Walden Thoreau. You guys, I don't know if you guys ever read Walden. So Walden said the soul reveals itself through, what is it? The soul reveals itself through subtraction, right? When our thinking starts to melt away, right? Then the Ava or Shabdas, the soul starts to reveal itself, right? But when we plug up our experience of life, we're constantly judging it. We're constantly splitting, bein betivo bein mako, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. We have so much thinking, right? Our thinking grows like mold, and it stops our level of awareness. It stops our consciousness. It stops our neshama almost from coming out. It stops us from realizing what's really going on, that it's really divine. So the soul reveals itself through subtraction, right? It's like all that extra thinking is weighing down the avish abadas, right? It's weighing down the divine shefa. But when we start understanding that there's this intelligence, that there's a seichel b'chol davar, that allows the soul to reveal itself, and all that extra thinking fades away, all that man-made thinking fades away, and all of a sudden we start seeing the avish abadas, the tzadikim, the Torah HaPanimius, right? To be ohev yamim l'ros tov, experience the love in every day, to experience our neshama happening no matter what the weather is. With this, I want to end with this. We'll end. There's a book over here. It's a book of poetry called The Missing Link, which was written by someone named Sidney Banks. He wasn't a Jewish man, but there's a quotes in here that I like to read from time to time. There's things, and I want to read one or two from here. I believe it really hits on what we've been talking about. I didn't make I should do a screen share of it, but I didn't prepare one. When our minds are in unity with that which is good, then our thoughts no longer hold us prisoner to that which is evil. When you start to see the power of thought and its relationship to your way of observing life, you will better understand yourself and the world in which you live. To find what you seek, discard all thought that there is a separation between the spiritual and the physical world. right? I love this, right? That when our minds are in unity, when our minds are in harmony with what is really going on, with that which is good, which is the Rabbona Shalom, the Orav Shebedas, our extraneously thinking stops weighing us down, and we stop judging, right? And then we start seeing everything as good. Hashem is always moving the world forward. And when you start to see the power of thought and its relationship to your way of observing life, you start to be makasher, your libo ledaito, right? Then you start to understand yourself, and then you start to see the world through a proper looking glass. And then to find that which you seek, discard all thought that there is a separation between the spiritual and the physical world. And then a person starts letting go of their thinking, and they start seeing that there's no real difference between the spiritual and physical world, that there's a nasa v'nishma on every single level. There's a Torah Sapinimius. And when Mashiach comes, Rabbi Nachman says the wolf, as Yeshaya Navi said, Rabbi Nachman brings, that the wolf is going to lie with the lamb. We're going to see that there's shalom, that there was true harmony in the world, that there was always a unity in the world. Right? That Hashem and His name will be one. We're going to see that the things that seemed opposites, the good seems opposite to the bad. We're going to see it was all good, and the wolf is going to lay with the lamb. That's the Or Avish Shebedas. Hashem's amazing love is going to be revealed, and we're going to see that there's no differentiation. Hayinu kecholma. We're going to be like dreamers. We're going to, some people have nightmares, other people have daymares, and we're going to wake up and we're going to see the absolute divinity and spirituality of the world that it always was in. And here's one. Here's another one over here, which I also felt was apropos. In the illusory world of thought, many believe the inner self is God and the outer self is the body. But I can assure you, the inner self and the outer self are the same thing, right? There's no difference inside, outside, right? As I've said before, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere, even here. Right? When we understand and we stop trying to control our inner world, we stop always trying to control our emotional being and our thoughts, and we wind up having a deeper knowledge, a deeper truth. We see the temporary nature of our thinking, right? Then you stop splitting. Your eyes must see in the singular if you want to find the truth. You have to see there's one source, and that's Hashem. When you understand this, you will see through the illusionary duality of life. Then a person enters this place of Ashabadas. They enter to this place. Who is the person who desires life? They see good. They stop distinguishing whether it's good or whether it's bad. Out from the Eibishta, Hakol Litova, Hakol Litova, Hakol Litova. Everyone sees that everything is amazing. They see that the universe is a friendly place, is an awesome friendly place. And it creates this deeper knowing that when you know, you just know. You can't prove it logically, but it's just a deeper awareness, a deeper consciousness, and a deeper knowing. And with that, we finish, or should I say, Rabbi Nachman said, all my lessons are Hagdamas. And with that, we begin lesson 33 in Lekutey Maharan. Hope everyone enjoyed, and have a wonderful Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos.
Koya. Thank you, Rabbi.
Shkoyach, Shaya. Solid.